Hi, this is Jay.
This is Iron Giant Bob.
This is Steve.
This is Brian.
And we are Alpha Quadrant 6. We are a science fiction review show. We saw Ready Player One, the movie, tonight. This is a spoiler-rich review. We're just going to talk about anything that happened in the movie that we liked. So
we have our quick review. If you haven't seen the movie, watch that. Or if you're thinking about seeing the movie, once you've seen the movie, come back and watch this video because we're going to spoil everything.
So in 3 seconds, we're going to start with the spoilers. 1, 2, 3. Bob, go.
Okay, I know why we haven't detected aliens. They've all gone full virtual immersion. Yeah. That's why.
They're all
That's
in the
where
Oasis.
They are.
Yeah.
They're all in the Oasis.
They've gone in instead of out.
Yeah, they went in, not out. That's where they're. Wow, I want to live in this place. This is where we're going, guys. Come on. At least for a good chunk of our lives, except Tuesday and Thursday, we're going to be in the Oasis. Yeah. I swear to God. Come on.
Well, yeah.
Right? I said there's no brainer.
You can definitely see how addictive it is. So, of course, the concept of the movie is it's 2045. I think good. They got the future correct. The amount of years in the future was perfect, I think.
Pretty good. Some people were complaining about that kind of worldwide bandwidth required to do that. Huge. I mean, we're talking huge. I mean, you're talking visual,
27
tactile.
years from now?
You don't think
hard to
fiber
predict.
optic can handle that, Bob?
Fiber optic, it's that last mile. Fiber optic, it's that last mile. I get you, right?
Yeah.
Well,
fiber optic.
Everything would have to be fiber optic at that point.
But they did mention the bandwidth wars, which is funny, which is really funny. But
there's a worldwide massive multiplayer online simulation that people are living a lot of their lives with in virtual reality, and the real world has gone to shit. Pretty much. People are living in poverty, but they're spending their time and their effort and their money in the virtual world.
Yeah, there was a line in the movie where they said people are stopped fighting to fix the world and are just kind of
trying to survive.
To survive in current state. So I think right out of the gate, Brian and I read the book. Yeah. So we're going to have a little altered opinion. I liked the movie in spite of the fact that it didn't follow the book. Mm-hmm. I went in, hoping that they were going to follow it. The fact that they didn't, you find out very early on that they didn't follow the book.
But Jay, was it like Harry Potter where they actually take like the subplot, like plot B, and cut it out, excised it, and left the majority of the A plot in, or did they really kind of tinker with?
No, they tinkered with the whole thing.
Big tinkering. Okay.
Yeah, all right, guys. The movie's never like the book. Get over it. If you go into a movie expecting it to be faithful to the book, you are kidding yourself.
It has happened. The Lord of the Rings did an okay job, especially with the first one. Yeah. But I would say that.
But even then, people were complaining about.
You're always going to have your purists, and of course, anybody listening to this, you got to. Yeah, there's always a change, a visual adaptation. Yeah. We actually, Steve and I were talking about that we left.
Medium.
You can't be showing up an actor playing 256 rounds of Pac-Man, right? I mean, we get that totally. But I thought that the scaffolding of the story was faithful. I thought the characters were, for the most part, faithfully rendered. Yep. I was personally disappointed that the puzzles from the book are not really in this at all.
Puzzles don't make good cinema.
But I thought the changes they made were done in the right spirit. Yeah. Again, definitely. In our spoiler-free review, we made the point that Spielberg is the right director for this. Yeah. Absolutely the perfect choice.
Right. It's funny you say that because the New York Times, in their review, they say that Spielberg was the only guy that could have done this.
He's the only one.
And he was also the only person that should never have been let near the material. So they kind of are on both sides, which is a funny part of their review.
I love Spielberg, I do, but I thought the adaptation of Jurassic Park, I had a lot of problems with that. I thought they gutted the book.
Yeah. So there I agree.
Spielberg definitely brought the 80s to this movie.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It had an 80s feel to it, the way that the plot unfolded, the character development, the charm of it had a very 80s backbone.
The music.
Yeah, of course, the music. And that was the easy part.
So the one massive contrivance of the movie, so it's 2045, people are living in the virtual world. You can take any avatar you want. And so it's, of course, loaded with geek references. But all the geek references were from the 80s. So there's been no geek culture in the 2020s, 30s, or 40s. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't, as the audience, wouldn't understand all the recent references that would have been in this movie. So that was massively contrived. But I'm totally willing to let that go because that movie is for us. It's not for theoretical people in 2045.
But don't forget that the plot of the movie, the guy, the guy that created the Oasis. Yeah. He was reliving the 80s.
Right.
No, I get that, and that makes sense for his plot. So the the world is on a hunt for an Easter egg that he left in the game, and if the first one to get the Easter egg gets to own the whole company, which is worth trillions.
Right.
And so he left a lot of 80s references in the trail of puzzles, which makes sense. But all of the players were their avatars were 80s references.
Right,
that would be like going to Dragon Con today and everyone is only wearing 80s costumes.
Yeah,
and there's no more recent geek culture references.
But don't forget, their culture was bereft of geekdom, probably. I mean, the 25, 35, and 45 wasn't good on the Earth because look, it's a dystopian wasteland.
The book did address that. I think from a cinematic perspective, it's a valid point. The book did address that. What happened was there is this complete degradation of culture.
Yeah.
And the world is a lot worse off in the novel than in the movie. But there had been this 80s revival where a point was made that people who are now getting older watching their youth come back as everybody's embracing it, because everybody who wanted to go after the egg studied, they knew the life of James Halliday.
Yeah.
They knew things, so they were bringing it back hardcore.
Yeah.
It's not just like, well, bell bottoms came back or something. No, like every
they made more of an effort to
reference,
explain.
Very much so. So that was grafted
obsession.
onto it well.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems I had with the movie, because it seemed like only the main team, the main heroes, they were the only ones that seemed to be in on the idea that the more you know Halliday, the better you're gonna do in the game. Nobody else. Can you imagine if the evil corporation actually knew this? They could have put a team of researchers and psychologists looking at all of his information.
They had that in the book.
They did make the point. No, they said that they did, and then they weren't getting anywhere, so they gave up.
There was the redhead worker who knew her stuff.
Yeah.
They were all studying 80s culture and they were studying Halliday. So, and the world was doing that as well. I mean, I think, I can mix up the information that was in the movie versus the book, but the world was competing for this.
Yeah,
they were, but I didn't really get the sense that they were like watching videos of him as a kid and finding that isolated quote that got them a key.
Yeah,
I didn't get that sense of
that. You're right. That is
they
in the
didn't
book,
do that.
though. But let's talk about the plot unfolding.
Okay.
Because I thought that was a lot of interesting decisions that Spielberg made. So first, Wade is living in this
the stacks,
which is
vertical trailer park.
Yeah.
How did they get him up there? How did they get the trailer park?
Big machine
Sky crane him up there.
Okay, but that's that's expensive. That's not cheap.
Say his room building vertically,
True, but you need the machine.
Land is probably more valuable.
You need the machine to stack them. That's a heavy duty. Oh, whatever.
And then Wade escapes to his mini oasis. He has like this van that's buried underneath a stack of destroyed cars. And that's his bedroom in a sense, right? That's his place.
Sanctorum.
Right. And he we see him like hacking into batteries, and he's got some equipment there that he's doing it, and he gets into the Oasis, and his experience going in, and our first experience as the audience in the Oasis is that it's an amazing place. It's clean.
My God, it's Disney World.
Yeah.
The contrast was set up immediately.
1,000.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing digital universe, really.
And too, I don't know if Spielberg's a gamer in real life or anything, but I mean, certainly, and I know Ernest Cline, who wrote the book, actually was one of the co-writers of the movie. But I didn't think that I thought it really captured the feeling of like multiplayer games and video game culture as well. Like it didn't seem to be, a lot of times when big directors do that, it's like a couple of gratuitous nods, but they don't really know it. Yeah. This felt like, as gamers, all of us, I felt he knew it.
Yeah. I remember watching the movie Goonies by Spielberg and thinking, damn, he would be a great dungeon master. So maybe I don't know, maybe he's got that.
Maybe he does. He certainly...
he thinks it well if he does it.
Yeah, I don't think it was any kind of poser stuff. I mean, at very least, he indulged it enough that it comes across as legit to people who are like...
Look, he lived through the 80s, guys. I mean, he knows the 80s
as well
as we do.
One aspect of the plot of the book, and the movie is that, the geek culture takes pride in their knowledge of trivia and their insider knowledge.
Oh, right.
And it's almost like a rite of passage, but it can also be exclusive, which
absolutely.
From what I understand, was more of an aspect of the book than the movie. I think they got away from that in the movie. But it definitely still came out. Like he was testing the villain, trying to trip him up with trick questions about his knowledge of geek culture, and they had the real nerds on the book row feeding him the information. But it still didn't work. Mm-hmm. So, Spielberg in the movie, they were trying to expose corporate posers, and it would, it mentioned if Spielberg himself were a corporate poser making the movie, it wouldn't work. right?
No,
So he would almost have been exposing himself
Right.
as the villain was being exposed in the movie, ironically, you know.
I think that's a good point. He definitely, I think there was too much depth in everything, and he always
good
brings
writers.
us joy.
Right.
Was that?
He had good writers.
Good
At
writers.
the very least.
Good consultants, good gaming
Yeah,
consultants.
he definitely
lot of
embraced, as he did, he embraced his subject matter, and he gave us an extremely entertaining product.
All right, what was your favorite part of the movie?
Favorite part of the movie? Well, I'd have to say, I mean, as I said, I've read the book, so I'll first say that I thought more puzzle should have been it. That's the worst part for me.
Yeah,
Favorite part of the movie probably was the big battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much to look at. Your eye is just looking all the sight lines of all the possible
You were
references.
awash in references, and you could,
And it was enjoyable anyway.
Yeah.
Like it was just, even if you didn't get a single reference, it was a very interesting
Right.
pursuit of the
it was
goal.
accessible no matter
With,
what.
with stuff that was going on behind the shield and in front of the shield and everything.
I think most people would be able to spot a bunch of references,
Yeah.
even us who are diehard geeks. So many things that we miss, but I don't think anybody would feel isolated. Like, oh, I have no idea what's going on. They
No,
would
you
say,
still get it,
A lot of
yeah.
people, even I think younger kids would get a lot of the
Yeah.
references.
My favorite part, I think, it was probably the overall sentiment of the movie was there's a place for gaming, but you have to live in the real world.
Right.
And that, of course, was the overarching message
Right.
that Spielberg was trying to deliver. We can't avoid the whole Gamergate thing as well. And I thought that Spielberg was smart to increase Artemis's role in
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah, she
Oh,
was more of
really?
she was an
Yeah.
equal partner.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
If what I understand in the book, she was more of a trophy.
A little
Would
more.
you
I mean,
say that's fair?
Yeah, that's fair to say. Especially this definitely did that justice. It expanded her character a lot more. And she
Without
was
hitting
kind
you
of-
over the head with it.
Without
So
hitting-
just-
yeah.
Yeah, so I
No,
think that was
right.
a good balance.
It was
She
very
was-
organic.
She was much more mysterious in the book, and I thought her cool factor was even higher in the book because it was in my imagination.
Yeah.
But they did a very good job with her character. I thought that they downplayed the other friends that were part of the High Five group, because they
Right.
really were in the book. There was more of that going
Yeah,
on.
you develop characters more in a book than a movie.
Yeah.
That's just
I know.
always the case.
No, but it was still good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm giving the movie props because they still did a very good job. They had, it was a 2-hour movie, it was over 2
Yeah.
hours, right? I mean,
It went by very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about
Really.
you,
What was
Steve?
yours? Yeah.
Oh, you know what my favorite part was?
Yeah.
The
of
whole
course.
sequence in The Shining.
Yeah.
When they went to the Overlook Hotel, from the moment they stepped inside the Overlook Hotel until the end of that sequence, I loved
Steve was
every
swept away.
I loved every moment
Steve,
of
when they
it.
picked that movie, because don't forget, like,
Yeah.
I'm like trying to think, well, what are they going
Right.
to pull out of the book?
Right.
And when they pull it, the Shining is not in the book, man.
Yeah.
Like, that was all
They must have
Spielberg.
gotten rights to it. Yeah.
But that's a change I didn't mind because in the book, we're doing the spoilers. The book, it was War Games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, which is,
Yeah.
I love war
That's
games.
a great
but,
movie, too.
But no, I thought it was an inspired choice.
Yeah.
It was
It's very
great.
cool.
I'm so intimately familiar with that movie. So
And
I
they
knew
went for it.
And they went
They
for
totally
it.
went for
I
it.
was loving it. Like, just in front of the elevators, and like, the blood's going to come out.
Yeah, I was waiting
And
for
the
the
blood
blood.
came out the same. You saw the creepy girls, and then he escapes into a room, and of course it's room 237. You're like, oh my God. And he totally falls with the
can
zombie
Steve, look at
girl in the
Steve.
tub. It was
Yeah.
like, just, I totally had me from
He
the
is
beginning.
human.
It was
The
love
music
it.
was
I
right.
Loved it.
They nailed it.
It was really scary when they were in the maze.
Yeah.
The frozen maze. Like, they
was
pulled
cool.
some cool stuff in there.
was
Now,
It's a
Steve,
genuinely creepy movie. and
Question
they
for you.
pulled it off.
they were pulling film from the movie. Am I
Oh yeah.
correct?
Oh yeah.
It looked that way.
It looked like they digitally put them into like literally scenes in the movie.
That's what it looked like to me.
I think I don't
think
know.
they did.
I don't know if they actually used footage.
The
but
blood coming out of the elevator
It
was,
was
identical.
perfect.
It was identical
It was
to the
perfect.
movie.
It was.
Yeah, that was a great
Yeah.
scene. I mean, without a doubt. But my excitement there was for you. I was like, oh my God, Steve!
And the other thing, it was showed Spielberg's skill in pacing a movie.
Yeah.
Because one of my fears for this movie going in is that it was going to be too over the top, CGI, things blowing up, overwhelming. And it wasn't that.
Yeah. I
It,
agree.
it was just enough. And this was a good sequence in the movie where it was just the five of them in a sparse setting, and so it was like a palate cleanser, a breather
Yeah.
for the more intense scenes.
Yeah.
So that was really well done, and that came at a perfect time in the movie and was a total home run.
Right. While getting you to catch your breath,
Yes.
building the characters.
Yeah.
A different kind of tension
Yeah,
because it was
exactly.
more horror,
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah. Props to
warfare.
Spielberg. I mean, he
It was
absolutely
wonderful.
He kept it interesting. It wasn't
Yes.
a letdown.
Yeah, we all got the fear from the preview that it was just going to be like a like
yeah.
a sensory
Yeah.
overload thing.
Right.
All right, before
Yeah,
we forget, Bob.
Yeah,
your
there was
favorite
actually
part.
a scene. There's one point where, and experienced this in a lot of movies where I'm thinking, okay, it's starting to drag, and then that went away really fast. So with the pacing and editing was fantastic. For me, the best part, 2 words. Iron Giant. Come on. The Iron Giant, 50 feet tall. My favorite character. I love the Iron Giant, the movie. Come
fun.
on.
You had that in the theater with you.
I had it in the theater with me. Come on, because I knew I was going to see the Iron Giant. So that was fantastic. I was actually getting a little emotional watching him die again, which was hard. And he was, if he's going against Mechagodzilla, he's going to win. Come on. Because I was waiting the whole fight. I'm waiting, because Iron Giant's awesome, but at the end of the movie, he's got these incredible weapons, and he pulls out one of them. And so I was just very happy that they paid homage to some of the bigger weapons.
Going down in the
Oh, and then the Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator. That was the icing on the cake.
That was a bit like the Terminator, but also I thought a little bit about Gollum falling into the lava at the end of Lord of the Rings.
I really like they did a good job of representing the magic items in the world. Like you can earn magic items by killing people in games and stuff like that. They had the holy hand grenade. They had the Rubik's Cube. Whose Rubik's Cube was it? It was named after...
It was Zemeckis.
Yeah, Zemeckis, right?
Yeah. Was it Cataclysm?
The bomb that killed
the ultimate bomb that killed everybody, everywhere, right?
That was out of the book too. They did it. That was pretty much rendered correctly, and the coin, the free life, and the 25 cent.
We knew that was coming back.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they did. But yeah, you could see so much. I mean, they had Chucky in there. They had Freddy Krueger in there. Batman.
That's the thing. There's so many references that anyone watching the movie was bound to see something they really cared about.
Oh, sure.
And that's my thing that I really love.
Right.
I mean, that's why it was a brilliant concept for a movie, and that movie was for us, right? I mean, that's
without a doubt.
Yeah. So what's not to love about it? From the music to all the references.
One thing that struck me, but not hard. I mean, it's not a big deal. But one thing was that it seemed to me that the entire thing was a game, and of course, the Easter egg hunt is a game thing, with the cool artifacts and stuff. But it's also Oasis strikes me as social media,
and there's
right.
He said it. This is where you meet up with people because everyone's here.
They allude to it in the beginning, but then the rest of the movie is all about the game and competing. And
I
know that's the
over.
thrust of
Oasis
it.
became the internet essentially. They kind of became one, and there were player versus player zones, and there were zones that you couldn't hurt anybody at all. Social areas. People went to school in the Oasis.
Do you think that's going to happen? The internet will become a virtual reality space.
Of course,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we actually were making a point. I mean, I played some virtual reality games, way back in the day when they were so heavy they could crush the cartilage of your face. But they also, lately, I've seen them turn a corner. It's definitely here to stay.
Yeah.
And they're not glorified demos anymore. They're real games now.
Yeah. They're great.
Yeah.
All right, at the end of the movie, when Wade is standing in front of the contract to take ownership, did you guys all catch? To me, I was thinking this is the end of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Well, it's funny you made that point because the trailer,
the
music that they played for the trailer, at least, that was a riff on the Willy Wonka theme.
Yeah, it was. So that was Willy Wonka, right? Because I'm thinking, all right, this is a test. He shouldn't sign the contract because this is the end of Willy Wonka. You're going to win the factory, right?
Right.
And then he had to give the never-ending gobstopper back, and then that was the deed that actually got him to win the factory.
Good day, sir.
Good day, sir.
It was an interesting test too because you got a very strong sense that Holiday did not want a corporation to win the contest, right? Like there was machinations behind the scenes that were trying to help Wade or someone like Wade win.
Right.
And I also felt subtext. Wade now, the 5 of them have $500 billion to spend. That you could change the world with $500 billion. And the fact that he said that on Tuesdays and Thursdays you have to be outside of the Oasis, I thought that was brilliant.
That was fantastic. I love that.
While he was saying that during a voiceover, he's saying he's with Artemis and they're kissing each other, and it's like again it was a good healthy message.
The real world is the only thing that's real.
Yeah. In the real world is you can still get a good meal.
Yeah.
that was a really good line. Now, guys, what did you think about the science itself? I mean. I think
the haptic feedback.
Yeah, everything. I thought it was very good. It was very good because I was really looking at that with a critical eye. One thing stood out to me. I liked some of the interfaces, the immersion technology, like the omnidirectional treadmill was really cool.
Yeah.
The suspension by the cords was really cool. That little hamster thing that he was in was really nice. But there was a lot of times when people were full out fighting and doing stuff, and they were completely untethered. They just really just had maybe just the goggles. And that was it. And to me, I didn't like that part because that's very dangerous.
Well, they're running down the street doing a battle, and they're fully unaware of the buildings around them.
I have to believe that by 2045 that there's going to have the chaperone boundaries will be able to skin themselves around your environment. So you're not you'll anything real world unless people are going to have parlors like Ray Bradbury.
Sure. And you could see through the goggles, so maybe they could still see the real world, even though you didn't get that
there's ways around it, but there's things that you can't get around. There were various scenes where, say, Wade was weightless when in the dance.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
There was in the water when H was in the water. He was a tidal wave basically washes over him, and he's like can't breathe. It sounded like those are things that based on where they were, you cannot replicate that.
That could have been psychological though. If you are virtually underwater, you may hold your breath.
But the immersion I think would break in those instances. Where
I think it would. But it definitely we did the plank test.
The plank
Jay
experience.
And I, the plank experience. Yeah, where you walk onto this narrow plank. And,
40 stories up.
And it is. I broke on a cold sweat. Absolutely. Everything is feeding your brain that this is real, even the rational that it's just a carpet outside. So I think when I jumped, Jay's like, okay, that's great.
Bob, he could have just been on the floor, wailing around, even though his avatar is being sloshed around.
But that was being
there.
picky.
It was
being picky,
there.
that's where the immersion, the full immersion would break.
You're totally right. At one point, they showed someone like jumping on their couch. While in the game they were jumping out. I mean, there was a little bit of disconnect between that.
But even the technology, as awesome as it was, I think we're talking 2045. I would have liked to have seen, for me, my ultimate goal of VR and augmented reality are basically sunglass size, just sunglasses. That's how big.
Like William Gibson virtual light.
How about contacts? How about just contact lenses? They could have given a little nod to the really high end kind of VR, but not a big deal.
They do in the book.
It seemed a little bit bulky for
but also visual, which was just Steve's earlier point too. Visually, it's just far more interesting to have the headgear and all that as opposed to the contact lenses walking around.
Oh yeah, the contact lenses. That you wouldn't even know, and that's a cheapo. That's kind of an interesting where we go. But for me, it's all about. I'm just waiting for the sunglasses, and that's your interface to the internet
or
to
direct
anything.
brain interface.
Well, that's going.
That's the ultimate.
Another step. Yeah, that's fine.
Not visual, but direct brain.
So, scale of 1 to 10, Bob. What do you rate it?
Oh God! I mean, I just had a boatload of fun. Sitting between Brian and Steve was excellent. But I mean, I have to give it between. I give it an 8 or 9. It was just a blast. No, I was not disappointed. It met my expectations, which were fairly high. I had a blast. 8 or 9, I'd say.
Funnest movie I've seen in a long time. I have to say, really, it was just a ton of fun. I'd give it an 8.5. I think it was.
How would you improve it? Think about it. What,
how
would you improve?
There's always room for improvement in terms of as a film, as a work of art. More attention could have been paid to the sense of the whole world being consumed, by this game, and really masterful directors can develop characters in a moment,
right?
And
with a thing,
and
great example, Aliens.
Yeah.
Right? Come on, to me that's always one of the iconic where they had a lot of characters and you knew and loved every one of them.
Every single one of them.
Better,
when they died, you're just like
even better was The Thing. The Thing, as a science fiction movie goes, had the quickest, most intense character development.
I mean, quick, skillful characterization.
Within minutes, you knew every one of those characters.
There was a moment in Ready Player One that I felt that way when it came to Artemis. I was worried she was going to be a little vapid at first, superficial, and then there's a moment where she kind of rejects him.
Yeah.
Right. And all of a sudden, she gives her life story quickly, all her motivation, and it felt authentic. A lot of it is the actress, but it's certainly the direction. And it was the right moment for that. And you're like, wait a minute, right, there's a level of emotional depth, and she's not just playing the game. We look back, and when she's trying to win that race, she's doing all those things. She has a very real motivation that we all can empathize with.
And Wade seems like a punk. This like a hormone-driven punk, superficial.
But that came at a good point in the movie because it is a game, and that's a problem. Another show that had that problem initially was Westworld, because there's a came up. Did you watch the series?
I haven't. I'm thinking.
So without getting into very quick quickly, but early on in the series, at some point you realize, wow, nothing here matters.
Yeah.
Nothing here. I can't care about the robots, and I can't care about the people playing the game because it's a freaking game. Why
can't you care about the robots? They're artificial intelligence. They're sentient. They're self-aware.
But you weren't
They're
at that
people.
point. I'm saying you weren't at that point yet in the
It
series.
didn't evolve yet.
It didn't get you to the point where you cared about anything, and so that this movie could have fallen into that trap.
Yeah.
Also, why do I care about this game that these people are playing? But they kept deepening it at enough of a pace to draw you all the way
Definitely.
in, and that was the scene that brought you all the way
Right.
in. Where you're like, this shit's real.
And that's Spielberg.
Yeah, that's Spielberg.
Showing, wait a minute,
Yeah.
now we visually we've got them, we got the fun factor. Now what's at stake?
Right.
Brian, scale of 1 to 10.
I would give it a solid 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for the kind of movie, I don't
from
think
a Brian, that's
I don't
a
think there's a
rate.
lot. Yeah, I mean, plus two things. One is that I don't think it could have been improved a lot. I really don't think so.
Yeah.
Little nitpicks.
Yeah.
Right.
I would have liked it to be more faithful to the book, but I'm trying to judge it on its own cinematic
Yeah.
merits.
Good for you.
And I figured you'd like that. No, it's a solid 8.
Yeah, I'd say 7.5 to 8.
Yeah.
A little bit of me has to be a holdout for the book.
Yeah, you're a purist that way.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do.
I loved it. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was exciting. I just felt like Spielberg made a lot of really good decisions, but there was a few twists and turns there where I would have liked a little bit more.
Last little plot thing. At the end of the movie, I think they were clearly trying to create the impression that Halliday, that's his name, right?
Halliday, yeah.
Halliday, that he was an AI, right?
Yeah.
You guys get that?
Yeah,
Any
of
other
course.
interpretation of that?
Yeah, that was. I mean, they didn't say that in the book, but it was. He certainly had put. What I got from the book was that he had put so much of his personality into the game that it was like almost like a thumbprint or
Right. The game itself
a
became
phantom
sentient
cache of
with his personality?
There was enough of an echo there. Why it was more of maybe a virtual intelligence than
Right,
artificial
yeah,
intelligence.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. But they
Right.
they didn't allude to it. It was 100%.
Well, he's not an avatar, so what are you? He's like, doesn't
Yeah,
really
yeah,
answer
yeah.
it. But
There's a little bit of a Deus Ex machina there.
Right.
Yeah.
But
One final thought. My God, please do not make movie 2. The story ended, right?
Yeah.
I like that. I like when one movie comes out and that's it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Exactly.
Right. It would be very challenging to make any kind of sequel to this that wouldn't be disappointing.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ready Player
Well,
2
Klein
with Johnny
came
Depp.
out with Armada, didn't he? Was that a
Which
sequel?
you didn't
or was that-
like.
Yeah, I didn't personally. I really liked the Ready Player One. I did not like Armada the book at all. But I actually, ironically enough, I think that it would be a decent film. I think that.
Really?
I think that they could actually. It was one of those books where I think they can make it a better movie than it was a book.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind more movies with these kind of themes.
I'm still waiting for Snow Crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, Snow Crash
Yeah.
and Neuromancer. I think
Yeah.
they can make them both.
Snow Crash would be
Right.
amazing. Yeah, I think VR is now fully going to be in the movies, and then hopefully we'll watch movies in VR. at some
I already
point.
have.
Yeah.
I already have.
Oh,
Short
cool.
short films. Imagine standing in the middle of the movie and you're watching it happening all around you.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what it's
I'm
Where
waiting
do you
for
look, right?
tabletop
Where do you
gaming.
look?
Where do you look? But
that's
that's-
in
oh,
VR.
yeah.
But
I'm with you,
that's the thing.
Brian.
Yeah.
Sometimes the action, when you look someplace, then the action resumes there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? So it's more of an interactive experience, three-dimensional experience, not a two-dimensional, only one-directional experience. So, and that's just scratching the surface. Artists now are going to be able to really learn how to develop VR as its own medium, right? At first, when you get a new medium, it duplicates the older mediums, right?
Yeah.
But then it learns to be like when TV was basically televised radio at first. Like, did you ever watch
Right.
the really,
Sure,
really
yeah.
first TV shows?
Right.
They were basically just televised radio programs.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
But then it had to
comes
learn
into its
to be
own.
its own medium.
It comes
So it'll
into
be
its own.
interesting to see where VR goes when it really matures as its own medium.
Hard to
Tell
predict.
storytelling. You
I mean,
know?
the recent VR games that I played, and they're starting to do things and take advantage of the medium. They'll take the limitations and turn them into strengths.
Yes.
And in a different way that you don't do when you're with a controller and your console.
Yeah.
So I think I think it's inevitably we're going to turn that corner And,
But it's happening
quickly.
fast.
It's going to be very fast.
Not fast enough, but let's bring it on, man.
I want to be in the Oasis right now.
Well, I want to play tabletop. I was saying
Yeah,
in the
me
Oasis.
too.
Yes.
I mean, just draw up your environment around you. You know,
Yeah.
look like the avatars you want to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't make your saving throw, you get disintegrated in real life. Right. So.
I mean, as awesome as this set is, and did you guys see the ray guns over there? I mean, it's an awesome set. Imagine what we would make it if this was
virtual.
digital.
Forget
Oh my
about it.
God, this would be an amazing
Yeah.
bridge.
So, guys, thank you for watching the review. If you like the show, please go to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Alpha Quadrant and the number 6. You can also go to facebook.com/Alpha Quadrant and the number 6. And we will be reviewing more movies and
Got some good movies coming up this year. We got Solo
yeah.
and
Avengers Infinity War.
Pacific
Infinity
Rim?
Wars, Pacific Rim, and probably the most anticipated one is The Incredibles 2.
Yeah, that's right.
Incredibles 2.
Not to mention us just talking about ray guns and blasters
And
all
robots.
sorts of things like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
robots
robots.
is coming up.
Hey, yeah, also, any suggestions you have for the specialty shows that we do? We have a long list of ones that we're planning on doing, but vote for the ones that you would like to see us do.
That's right. You can email us at alphaquadrant6@gmail.com.